Science video notes. All right, over the last couple weeks, we have been talking about ecosystems and the types of organisms that live in an ecosystem. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's set up our notes. We're going to call it Organisms in an Ecosystem. And before we get any further into our notes, let's remember what organisms are. If you remember, organisms is a fancy science word for living things. So organisms are living things. That's the big idea there. Remember, while we're doing these notes, you can pause at any time to get caught up. So don't feel rushed. If you need to pause me, go ahead and pause and then start the video back up when you're caught up. All right, I'm going to draw a line under that. And there are 3 types of organisms in an ecosystem. So I'm going to draw 3 boxes. I'm going to kind of do my best guess so I can give myself enough space for all 3 boxes. Phew, did it. Now the first one we're going to talk about are our producers. Producers are plants. And they make their energy. Actually, they don't make energy. They make their food. I'm going to change that to food. Using air, water, and energy from the sun. That's the really big idea that you need to know about producers. They're plants and they make food using air, water, and energy from the sun. That is your 5th grade standard. Let's also show a couple examples. Now I'm going to add my own examples, but these are your notes. You could add your own examples. I'm going to add trees, grass. Ooh, we need to also remember the aquatic plants. What about seaweed? We also have plankton. Let's see, cactuses. Those would be not an aquatic one, but that's a hard one to remember. So any of these are good examples. If you have some other producers that you can think of, go ahead and add your own examples. I'm going to grab my green crayon and I'm just going to really quick outline this to remind me. Producers are plants. Awesome. All right, the next group of organisms are the consumers. And consumers are animals. Animals get their energy and matter, the stuff they're made of, by eating other organisms. Remember, an organism is any living thing. So animals get their matter and energy by eating other organisms. Now there are 3 types of consumers. If you remember from our video, you may have caught this. There are, I'm going to put a 1 for one type of consumer. There are carnivores. Now carnivores They eat only meat. Let's think of some examples. A carnivore could be a tiger, or a wolf. You might have a different example. The second group are the herbivores. The H in herbivore is silent. So herbivores eat only plants. So an example of an herbivore might be a panda. It only eats bamboo. You could even add bamboo over here. Herbivores eat only plants. Let's see what else would be a good herbivore. Oh, a rabbit. And then the last group of consumers is an omnivore. Omni, this root in here, means both. So an omnivore eats meat and plants. And a great example of an omnivore is us, people. Most people are omnivores. Now you might be an herbivore if you say, nope, I only eat plants. I am a vegan. But most humans are omnivores. Bears are another example of omnivores. See if you can think of any others. These are our 3 categories of consumers. So I'm gonna color in my consumers red to show that they eat other things. Now the last group we haven't really talked about a lot. Next week when we do our mystery science, we get to do an experiment using some of the stuff in your kit, and we're going to learn about the next group. So if you think you already know that, you can write it in pencil. But if you're not sure, that's okay. We're going to learn about it next week. So here's a clue. Don't tell anyone I told you. Put a big star up here. This is really important for your 5th grade science test. It's super important that you know what a producer is. Remember that they're any type of plant that's making its own food using air, water, and energy from the sun. And it's super important that you know consumers are animals and that they get their energy and their matter by eating other organisms. All right, see if you can use this strategy to answer the questions on the next slide.